Hey everybody, Robert here from blackbeltgaming, continuing my read-through of Adventures Dark and Deep. This is basically first edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Expanded. So today I thought I would take a look at halflings, and depending upon the time we might get into half-orcs as well. Halflings are diminutive demi-humans, much given to simple comfort such as food and drink. Only occasionally are they stricken with wanderlust that compels them to seek out adventure, excitement, and wealth. In cases where the type of halfling is not specified, it's usually assumed that they're harefoot halflings. Here are some ranges for age according to the type of halfling. We have harefoot, stout, and tall fellow, and we're going to take a look at these different types here. Halflings possess a natural resistance to magic and poison and gain a bonus to their saving throws versus wands, staves, rods, poisons, and spells according to their constitution score. So taking a look here at the saving throw bonuses, if you have sort of an average constitution, you're looking at a +3 bonus to those saving throws. If you've got an 18, you're looking at +5. So some pretty nice saving throws there. Halflings are limited to the levels that they can attain in the different classes. This is in the true first edition tradition where the worlds were kind of balanced, and it was primarily driven by humans who could attain the highest levels. When moving with other halflings or elves and not wearing metal armor such as chainmail, halfling characters are able to move quietly, giving their enemies a -2 penalty to their surprise rolls, unless you have to open a door or other portal, in which that drops to a -1 penalty. If they're in a mixed group who don't meet these requirements, the halfling has to be about 90 feet away in order to gain this bonus. When a halfling is being attacked by the giant type creatures, ogres, giants, etc., they get a -4 penalty due to the halfling's small size. So those enemies get -4 on their attacks. Halfling characters begin able to speak common, dwarven, elvish, gnome, goblin, halfling, and orcish. Those who have an intelligence score of 17 can learn 1 additional language. With a score of 18, they can learn 2. So far, I haven't seen anything about infravision. So let's continue. It's going to come up, I'm sure. Harefoot halflings. So these are the most common type we're used to. They get a +1 bonus to their dexterity and a -1 penalty to their strength. Initial ability scores of harefoot halfling characters must fall within the ranges. So, thank you to the author, Joseph Bloch, for answering a question I had, which was, do you need to, let's say there's a minimum score of 6 in strength to be a halfling. Do you need to have that strength score of 6 first? Or maybe let's look at dexterity. Let's look at dexterity. It's easier to do. You have a minimum dexterity of 8 to be a halfling. If you roll your character and the dice comes up and you have a dexterity of 7 and you want to play a halfling, can you play that halfling? Do you need to have the 8 before you get the racial bonus? Or if you choose halfling and get the +1 to dexterity, which then takes it to 8, then you're within the ability score ranges and you're okay. I think the author may have said that it could be done either way. It's up to the game master. So I would probably lean towards allowing, when you chose the race and got the bonus, that as long as you were within the minimums and maximums listed here, that you would be fine. So yeah, if you had a, what do you got, a -1 to strength. If you came and you had a strength score of 6, and then you became a harefoot halfling, that would drop your strength score to 5, and I think that would disqualify you from being a halfling, as far as how I might play it out. So, as it says, players that do not possess ability scores within the stated ranges cannot be harefoot halflings. Harefoot halflings tend to have ruddy cheeks and brown or light brown hair. They have eyes of brown or hazel. Height and weight are determined here. What about stout halflings? Stout, and I didn't realize all this. I think I always played, if I ever played a halfling, it was a harefoot. Stout halflings have a strain of dwarven blood running through their veins, which makes them a bit more at home in the deep underground environments, as well as making them shorter and stockier than normal halflings. They tend to be tinkers and craftsmen rather than farmers and gardeners. They get a +1 bonus to their constitution and a -1 penalty to their strength. And we have their minimum and maximums there. Sort of the same bit about falling within the ranges to qualify to be a stout halfling. Now, it didn't say that the harefoot halflings had infravision, but stout halflings do. Maybe due to some of that dwarven blood being in their race. So stout halflings possess infravision with a range of 60 feet, allowing them to see sources of heat when there's no other illumination. Stout halflings tend to have ruddy cheeks and brown or dark brown hair. They have eyes of brown or green. Height and weight are determined as follows. So we've got one more, the tall fellow. Let's take a look at the tall fellow halflings. They have a touch of elven heritage, which is reflected in their love of the outdoors and their slightly taller and slimmer frames than most halflings. They get a +1 bonus to dexterity and a -1 penalty to their constitution. And we need to have their minimum and maximum ranges of ability scores within these. Again, you need to qualify to be a tall fellow halfling. They tend to have ruddy cheeks of brown or light brown. Ruddy cheeks, brown or light brown hair, eyes of brown or hazel, and no infravision as far as I can tell. So really, it was only that one race, the stout ones, that have the infravision. So the harefoot halflings and the tall fellows do not, evidently. So let's talk about half-orcs. I was one of the only people that played one of these back in the day. So I sort of have an attachment to half-orcs for some reason. I think the new edition of D&D has eliminated half-orcs for some reason. And I think second edition AD&D eliminated half-orcs, didn't they? I would have to double check. But I used to like playing my half-orc, and the other players kind of kidded me about it. Whenever I would get hit, they would make pig noises or something, squealing, I don't know, all kinds of things. So, half-orcs. The offspring of orcs and humans, half-orcs are usually not welcome in either sort of society. Occasionally, though, half-orcs of exceptional ability will rise to positions of leadership of bands of orcs. Ooh. Otherwise, they often find a niche among the lowest classes of human society. Approximately 10% of all orc-human hybrids are able to pass as human, and it is assumed that the player character half-orcs are going to be in that minority. So if you want to look up more, you can look them up in the bestiary. Half-orcs receive a penalty of -2 to charisma, but receive a +1 to strength and a +1 to constitution, but the strength can't be over 18 or 100% for the fighters. Initial scores must be in the following ranges. They're also limited into what levels they can reach. And half-orcs have infravision up to 60 feet. And half-orc player characters start the game with the ability to speak Common and Orcish, and they may learn a maximum of 2 additional languages, assuming their intelligence score is high enough to allow it. Half-orcs generally favor their human heritage, but have sallow or pinkish skin, dark hair, and tend towards beetling brows. Height and weight are as follows, and we've got their age ranges here. So if I were a half-orc, I would be an old half-orc. So I would be in this category. So the maximum age range here we're looking is 80 years. So you're a very old half-orc if you reach 61 years of age. So there we have halflings and half-orcs.